and definitely be respectful and honor your time as well. So awesome. Well, thank you, Rhonda, for that introduction. Hi, everybody. My name is Jess. For those of you that I have never had the chance to connect with before, or even email back and forth in years past, I am the local implementation support here in North Carolina. I also support South Carolina schools as well. And then I do have another counterpart. She is not on today's training, but her name is Jackie. You will probably at some point in time meet her or receive an email from her. But both of us are the Everfi support here in the Carolinas for anything and everything Gaston County needs in terms of utilizing the Everfi resources. So today, I know it kind of looks like a hefty agenda, but really, I promise you, I am going to condense all of this. But my main purpose today is to give you all a little bit of background about our conversations that we've had with Rhonda over the last couple of weeks, and really just to lay out our partnership. Also, I will go in and share a little bit more information on who we are at Everfi for those of you that have never heard of us. Share out the instructional resources as well as the SEL plan that we put together for Gaston County schools to utilize this school year. And then also I'll walk through how to get started and any next steps in terms of having my contact information and my email, and anything else that you might need from me moving forward. So awesome. So first things first, I kind of just wanted to paint a picture for you all on kind of how we work with districts and how our work in Gaston County began and where we're going with this. So the first part that you'll see there is the review stage where Rhonda and I and Jackie met and discussed our resources to provide SEL instruction for all grade levels, kindergarten all the way up through high school. Right now, we are in that training phase right now, which you'll see there, which we are starting today, where Everfi will train educators, you all as counselors, to familiarize yourself with the Everfi resources, as well as to lay out the SEL plan that we put together. And then what we hope for is in steps 3 and 4, implement the resources this fall semester, and then gather our feedback at the end of the semester to tweak and provide data to the schools and see anything that needs to be changed or enhanced, or anything like that that we can help support implementation going forward into second semester. So please know we value your feedback. What is working well? What is not working well? What is a total crash and burn? We definitely want you all to be able to communicate that with us. So we will be providing some Google feedback forms to send out so that we can really truly capture how the SEL plan is going in this fall semester. And then you'll just see here the timeline of just some, again, just to kind of wrap your brain around the trajectory of where we're hoping to go with all of this. So, we definitely want to house some type of roundtable or check-in events with, educators, something that we value, so that we can truly hear how are the lessons and the flows and the scope and sequence working, or what's not working, and what do we need to do to change that. So again, it kind of giving you a good background knowledge on the trajectory of this partnership. So please feel free to jot in any questions about those, about that timeline, or about those pieces. I am more than happy to help answer that as well. So for those of you who have never heard of Everfi or have never used an Everfi resource before, and this is your first time, awesome, welcome. We are a little bit different than most educational technology companies out there. We like to think of ourselves as an impact as a service company. We did originate about 12, 13 years ago, coming out of the financial crisis and recession at the time. to at first primarily support financial education in the schools. However, since then, we have been able to expand and scale out our educational resources to really tackle some of the most impactful issues across multiple topic areas. So you'll see our resources span different areas like mental health awareness, uh, character education, compassion and empathy, drug and alcohol prevention, consumer debt, money management, STEM and career exploration, soft skill development, and much, much more. Everfi is helping to equip students with the education and real world skills that they need to be successful and truly offer that missing layer of education in the school setting. Again, our funding model consists of national and local sponsors and community organizations that are so generous. They underwrite the cost of the resources for your schools to use. So it does not cost you as educators any money. It does not cost your individual schools, and it does not cost the district any money to utilize not just our resources, but any of our professional development, any of our ongoing trainings. Anything that you need from Everfi is completely funded thanks to these wonderful sponsors that sponsor the courses. So you'll notice our sponsors are going to be people like the NFL and the United Way, specifically here in the Carolinas, the Carolina Panthers. We also partner with different sponsors in the financial education realm, like BB&T, now Truist, and then also folks in the health and wellness world, like the Prescription Drug Safety Network, just to name a few. So again, our resources will always remain free to schools and districts. Not only do educators have access to the digital lessons, but also we have built-in digital assessments through our reports dashboard where teachers can track student progress in real time. We also have a team of on-the-ground local Everfi school implementation managers like myself who support teachers with those day-to-day questions or tech issues that might pop up, and also just help getting started with students. So you'll see here, this is just a small set of Everfi Everfi problem sets that we look out to hopefully tackle and create impactful resources around. So you'll notice some of these statistics and data points around retirement and savings, student loans, mental health awareness, college and career readiness, next gen skills, digital wellness, substance misuse, health literacy, which is one of our newest courses that we just rolled out. So through our scalable and our impactful educational platform, Everfi seeks to not just improve student learning gains around those topics, but also help drive some attitudinal and behavioral changes to better student lives, regardless of their social, their economic, or their geographical status. Awesome. So I just wanted to paint a pretty picture in the next couple of slides of just Everfi's overall impact. So nationwide, Everfi partners with over 850 banks and institutions that underwrite the cost of our resources. That also includes our over 1,500 community and corporate partners, and that can be local and nationwide as well. We do have a growing network of teachers and counselors and educators that are utilizing the resources, and we are excited to report that we had 4.7 million students that jumped on and utilized a resource this past school year, so the 2021 school year. So even through a pandemic, Everfi's resources have been truly able to make an impact in no matter what type of classroom or non-classroom setting the students were a part of. Just to give you another good picture of here in the state of North Carolina, how many folks are utilizing Everfi. So you can see here, we have just a little under 1,000 schools that are participating. We have a really big number of growing teachers, a little over 1,400, and then excited to continue to see that student number grow year after year. So we had just a little under 135,000 students that are participating in an Everfi course from from last school year. We are standards aligned. You will notice that there's standards alignments that are written into the SEL plan. So we are aligned to CASEL competencies, we're aligned to Jumpstart National standards, we're aligned to NGSS standards, and we're also aligned to state-specific core curriculum standards as well. Our entrepreneur course, just as an FYI, is a stackable credential here in North Carolina. So the DPI does recognize our venture course as a stackable credential for the entrepreneurship class. So definitely excited to have those partnerships and that recognition at the state level, because we do know how important that is as more and more educators are utilizing the resources. And then last but not least, again, here is just some great data that we are excited to share in Gaston County. We've worked really closely with our elementary teachers last year, fourth grade and fifth grade teachers, with our Vault Understanding Money course, and implementing that into our upper elementary classrooms. So really excited to be able to train Gaston County teachers last year and continue to train them on our elementary financial literacy resources. And again, you can see that we are, just approaching the 3,000 student mark in Gaston counties. We are really excited to hopefully see this number grow, especially after utilizing these SEL resources this year. Awesome. So just to reiterate, the digital lessons will all come to you unlimited student licenses. So that means you can utilize with as many students in your schools as you possibly need to. There is no cutoff. You'll also have access to, your local implementation support person, which will be most likely myself or Jackie. And then you'll also have access to opportunities that sponsors in the area like to put on. So for example, last year, with everything pivoting to virtual, we had some sponsors that really wanted to put on some classroom visits virtually, or virtual career panels for different teachers and students that utilize the resources. And then there's also embedded different scholarship opportunities. So that is definitely something that I know our elementary teachers were taking advantage of last year with our Lending Tree sponsorship here in the Charlotte area, and the outskirts, where Gaston County was able to take advantage of the Lending Tree scholarship as well. And then we also keep track of data, right? Because we know that that is important. So we do capture a mid-year and an end-of-year data report that we share out with folks like Rhonda and other partners that we partner with at the district level. So again, we're able to keep track of student usage and any of those learning gains that we're able to capture throughout this school year. All right, awesome. So I tried to give a pretty thorough overview of who we are here at Everfi. I do see that there was a question in there about Compassion Project. So yes, I will be diving into that here in my next section. Thank you so much, Chelsea, for bringing that up. But I am excited to share with you all the resources that we are going to embed within the SEL plan there in Gaston County Schools. So I'm going to jump right on in. This is our entire 30-course K-12 course library that consists of these 30 different courses. You can see the headers up above. They span everything from our financial education suite to STEM and career readiness, social emotional learning and health and wellness, academic readiness for the elementary levels, and then also our diversity suite of courses. So again, the ones that we will be diving into that we incorporated into the SEL plan are going to be right now these 5 courses. There's also opportunity for us to add additional ones for next semester. We definitely have had those conversations with Rhonda, and are definitely going to be ready to incorporate additional ones into the SEL plan if there needs to be additional lessons thrown in there. So again, we are always tweaking and getting feedback, and we want to definitely hear from you all throughout how these resources are impacting your students. So you'll see here, we are starting with the elementary grade levels. what we did is we put together a plan with the Compassion Project. So you can see there the recommended grade levels that we just normally see being used is anywhere in between second, third, and fourth. However, what we've been able to do is actually tweak and make an SEL plan with the Compassion Project, where it lays out a kindergarten first, second, and third grade component, and then it also will lay out a fourth and a fifth grade component. I will also say that we are in the process this school year of rolling out a specific Compassion Project 2.0 that's specifically for fourth and fifth grade. So once that course gets rolled out officially sometime this school year, that's definitely something that we will take and keep in mind and tweak for the following school year. But I wish it was ready by the time that we're starting school this year, but we just got word that they are doing a Compassion Project 2.0 for the upper elementary folks. So I wish the timing worked out, but we will definitely take that into consideration as we think about how to tweak and enhance this as we go. So with that being said, again, the Compassion Project is what we're going to be using for elementary. My middle school folks. So middle school, what we're going to do is we are going to be using the Digital Wellness and Safety course, which is called Ignition. And then we're also going to be utilizing the Character Playbook course, which is all about building healthy peer-to-peer relationships. And that course is sponsored here by the Carolina Panthers and the local United Way. They are really excited to bring this course to middle school students. So I think you will find that that is a really engaging and beneficial course at that middle school level. And then at the high school level, we have two courses that we will roll out. We are going to roll out Honor Code, which is all about bullying prevention, but it goes more in depth. It's really more about leadership and resiliency, and how students can really rise up and create a positive school environment so that there isn't bullying going on in their school communities. And then we are also going to incorporate the Mental Wellness Basics course. The Mental Wellness Basics course is definitely geared toward middle or high school, but we're going to keep that with the high school folks for this year. And that's a part of our comprehensive prevention education resources that we see being utilized with PE and health teachers, with the Prescription Drug Safety Network, or Prescription Drug Safety Program, the Alcohol EDU program, and our newest vaping prevention course of vaping. So Mental Wellness Basics and Honor Code will be the two high school SEL resources that will get rolled out and used. All right. Awesome. So with that being said, what I'm going to do is these next couple of slides, I am going to dive into what the resources look like quickly, just to provide a general overview. And then I do just want to make sure that I share out the frequency of how often these different grade level SEL lessons will be taught. And then what I will do is I will share out the link for the plan so that you can have that handy. And then that way you can have that pulled up on your screens as well. Okay, awesome. So for my high school folks, so what we're going to do is first semester, we built in the Mental Wellness Basics course to be utilized. And then second semester, the Honor Code Bullying Prevention resource. We did say that we're going to go ahead and have it be about 5 times a semester, which works perfectly with the digital lessons and then the extension activities that are provided as well, in case teachers or counselors want to extend those digital lesson topic areas that the students will be going through. And that's going to be about 15 minutes a lesson. So the Mental Wellness Basics course, again, it is going to be, yes, all about mental health, as you could probably guess. You'll see the course topics that are outlined there below. I've got a couple slides on the next couple pages that will walk through each of the lesson objectives and topics as well. We are going to be releasing another module within this course that could just be another extra lesson if teachers or counselors would want to use that. And it's going to be all about coping during stressful times, such as the pandemic and COVID-19. So we will be adding in a fifth lesson into this course at some point this school year. But you'll see the basically four different course topics that are outlined there below. Really, the mental wellness basics course was put together to debunk the stigma around mental health, especially at the high school level. So lesson one is going to be all about mental health basics, how to support your own mental health, and also the impact of stress and how that corresponds to a person's mental wellness. So they'll go through and learn about the different aspects of their life and how that relates to mental health, such as their emotions, their thoughts, their behavior, their own perceptions. Just a great introductory lesson to get students thinking about mental wellness. Lesson two is going to be all about understanding mental disorders, so areas of the brain and their function, the symptoms of common disorders, also just really thinking about how, how one can balance their own emotions, thoughts, and behaviors. And then also how to reduce the severity of mental health disorders. So they might, have somebody in their life who may be suffering from a mental health disorder, or maybe they're worried that they themselves that this is something that they need to, possibly think and keep in mind and for the future. And then the lesson three is all about healthy coping skills. So again, just really, equipping themselves with the strategies that they will need to help manage their emotions, to help manage their thoughts, to help manage their behaviors, and how all of that correlates and corresponds with one's own mental wellness. And then the fourth lesson is all about getting help. So students will learn to identify with either a peer or they themselves, if they need help with their own emotions and mental health. So different signs that they should be, looking out for that a person might need help, resources for getting help, and what that might look like. Again, debunking that stigma around mental health. All right, awesome. So I'm going to go on here, honor code. So again, my high school folks, second semester, we incorporated this wonderful Beyond Bullying honor code program into the SEL plan. Yes, it is going to be talking about identifying bullying behavior, but it's going to be more than that. It's going to be, recognizing leadership potential in students. It's going to be talking about ways that they can develop this sense of resilience in themselves, contributing to a positive school community, and how they can, bystander skills and what they can do to step in or intervene if need be, if they're noticing something. So the different lessons incorporated with this course is all about lesson number one, relationships. So different types of bullying and the impacts that bullying can have, as well as the consequences of what bullying can do. Leadership is going to be all about lesson two. So students explore the reasons why bullying happens. They'll also talk about how they can help prevent bullying behavior, different risk factors that go along with bullying behavior, as well as really starting to think about the social norms and how they can step up and rise to the occasion as a leader in their social circles. Lesson three is all about resilience. So students first learn the underlying factors that lead to bullying, and gain some of that emotional management techniques. So what are the risk factors and the management techniques in terms of building up resiliency in a person, as well as also identifying those negative and positive social norms when it comes to building resilience. Awesome. And then the next lesson is all about courage. So how to have the courage to stand up, step in, and handle bullying situations. What does that look like in a healthy way? And again, just really building self-advocacy and also that social advocacy as well, to really help support a positive school community. And then lesson 5, they'll dig deeper into that community aspect. So, explore, why a strong and healthy community is so important, why building those strong connections with others is so impactful, and how we can all rely on individual strengths to build each other up versus building or excuse me, breaking people down. So the last part about this program is there is an optional capstone project that happens at the very end. So again, I will show you in the SEL plan where you can find that capstone project where students can work together to design how they want to put together an anti-bullying service project or capstone project for their school community. All right, awesome. So I'm going to go ahead again. I know I'm going through these quickly, but I just want to make sure that I reiterate what each one of these resources has within them, and then you all will have the opportunity to go in and explore at a deeper level. But my middle school folks, you're going to have the Ignition Digital Wellness course as a part of your SEL plan, and then also that character playbook, which is all about building healthy relationships. So this lesson frequency for the middle school level, we talked about it being once a week at about 45 minutes per lesson. So the Ignition course is all about digital wellness and safety. So knowing what are the consequences for screen time versus offline time. What are my privacy, what are my safety and privacy rights as a citizen, and how do I go about making sure I'm protecting myself and staying safe when I am online in an online environment. Um, social networks and social media. How do I manage my connections and my relationships and what I put out there on different social media platforms? And how quickly can something travel? Even if I think that just my small circle of friends will see it, what are the consequences of truly posting something on social media and the digital footprint that will follow? So I'll just quickly go through these lesson snapshots so you can just get a good idea of these 6 different lessons. The first lesson is all about connections and community. Again, focuses in on that social media piece and how they can engage in a respectful, responsible manner on social media and online community sites. Lesson 2 is all about how to stay safe and protect your privacy and to protect your digital footprint when you're online. Lesson 3 is all about screen time versus offline time. So again, creating that healthy balance between the two, especially in this world where the students are glued to their smartphones, or they're glued to their Chromebooks or laptops, and they are much more available online now than they are just a couple years ago. So definitely evaluating the screen time versus offline time. Then they'll also learn more about just data laws, technology and data, and the online threats. Again, going into more of that username password safety whenever you're signing into different platforms, or something that obviously is going to be more for outside of the school setting, because we know that there's some pretty heavy safety nets put in place when they're in school utilizing that. But what about when they're outside of school and using different platforms? Rights and literacy is going to be another lesson. So students will really begin to think about being responsible creators and evaluating, negative and positive aspects of creations that are out there in the online world, and the curated content that's always, out there. And then lesson 6 will be evaluating that online content. So, how can they confidently search and decipher between what is, fake news, real news, what's an advertisement versus what is, something, an article or a newspaper clipping. So whatever that might look like. So they'll begin to start really evaluating the sources that they're reading and pulling from. All right, and then Character Playbook. So Character Playbook is sponsored here, again, locally here by the Carolina Panthers and the United Way. They are really excited to bring this program to schools. And I think, you'll notice that this is a really engaging course for students to jump in and learn more about building healthy peer-to-peer relationships and managing their own character education piece. So in these lessons, students will go through, they'll analyze the influences around them. So things such as social media, peer pressure, and also begin to hone in and identify their strengths. They'll also then jump in and begin to start learning about understanding and managing one's own emotions. So, when the going gets tough and there's different situations that arise, how can you manage your emotions in a respectful and effective way? Next lesson is all about communicating effectively, which is exactly what that is. So communicating, whether it's face to face or in person, or excuse me, or through a text message or an email, what are the different ways that our communication can be construed? And so making sure that we are thinking about how we're communicating effectively with others. Resolving conflict, students will dive in and learn more about ways that they can avoid certain behaviors, but also manage certain behaviors during a conflict, and really truly how to resolve that in a constructive way. Bystander skills. So another great skill that students will learn how to step in and help cultivate and recognize, when something is a healthy relationship versus when it's an unhealthy relationship, and what to look for. And then making decisions, right? So, what does it mean to go through different decisions in your life, and making decisions based off of your personal standards, your moral standards, your ethical standards, and then how those decisions that you make can impact the relationships in your life, and the friendships that you have. Okay, awesome. So last but certainly not least, my elementary folks, Compassion Project is the resource that you all are going to be utilizing for SEL plans this year. Again, lesson frequency for the Compassion Project is going to be one time a week at about 25 minutes per lesson. So Compassion Project, for those of you that have never utilized it before, it is geared towards elementary students. There are 3 digital lessons that 4th and 5th grade students will jump on and they will utilize, along with the offline and teacher-led discussions and lessons that are within the plan. So that's just something to keep in mind, is that the 4th and 5th graders will have access to the digital lessons where they will jump in and do some of that independent work. But really, there's just 3 key areas within the Compassion Project lessons. Going to be all about defining what compassion is, what it looks like, what it sounds like, as well as empathy. So, what is empathy, and perspective taking, and going through the steps of putting yourself in somebody else's shoes. And then also the piece of, how do I show myself compassion? How do I show myself empathy? And that mindfulness and growth mindset that's so important that we build in at the elementary level as they continue to get older. And then also, they will also learn about ways that they can show compassion in their school community or at home in their family communities. And then, and in the greater and broader sense of the world, how they can show compassion within the world, and make their communities a better place to live in. All right, so I did just put in a couple screenshots so you can see for the digital lessons that students in 4th and 5th grade will be working through. So one of the lessons is all about what is compassion, which obviously the students will go through and learn about the definition and examples of compassion through the eyes of these characters that they are learning about within the digital modules, as well as in the videos that are incorporated into those lessons. And then another one of the digital lessons that students will go through is empathy. So taking on this role of defining what empathy is, and how empathy and compassion, what's the difference between the two, and how they correlate. And then the third digital lesson on there is all about being mindful. So again, ways that you can show your self-compassion and empathy by practicing mindfulness, practicing growth mindset, ways that you can, talk to yourself, and the outcomes, the benefits of practicing mindfulness. So with that being said, I know it is 11:30. So what I do want to do is, is I want to make sure, I know for those of you that are sitting in the auditorium right now, or sitting in the room right now, I don't know if you all have your computers in front of you and can access this. But in the chat, I'm going to put in this link to the to the Gaston County Schools SEL plan. And I know, Rhonda, I will also, after this session, I will send you over links and everything like that. So you can also push those out in an email to folks as well, so that they can have all of that. If by chance, if they're not in the Zoom link and following along with that chat box. But this right here that you'll notice is the SEL plan. Let me make this nice and big on my screen, but I know that there are a bunch of you that are following along. So what you'll notice is down below, there's 3 different tabs. So there's an elementary, there's a middle, and there's a high school tab. And what you'll notice is that there are lesson inserts. So for example, elementary level, what you'll notice is 41 weeks worth of lessons. No, you might not need 41 weeks worth of lessons. However, we incorporated that in there for you to pull from and use on a week-to-week basis during that SEL time. You'll notice that there's a K3 version and a 4-5 version. I will also make this comment that because the 4th and 5th Compassion Project 2.0 is not released yet, we are obviously excited for that to come out. I tried to make the 4th and 5th version, more 4th and 5th grade friendly versus more of that intermediate for kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade. So it is tweaked slightly, those lessons. I try to keep that into consideration, but you'll also notice all of the standards alignment that go with those lessons. So whenever you need to, look that up to see how these lessons are correlating with those standards, they're right there for you. And anything that you will need will be embedded within the lesson. So I wanted this to be a quick pull this up, let me get what I need to from the links that are inserted within there, and I can roll this out immediately with my students. So Lesson 1 will be all about how to walk through getting students started on the platform, because 4th and 5th graders will be using those digital lessons. Kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd graders are not going to be utilizing those digital lessons. So this is all going to be teacher facilitated in the classroom. All right, let me go ahead and just jump to the middle school version so I can walk you all through what the middle school looks like. So again, on the left-hand side here, you'll see the scope and sequence. Again, we do know that we will most likely have to embed additional resources into this SEL plan, because we only, as of right now, included 2 different resources, which we understand we might need to build out a couple more, since you all will be utilizing this on a weekly basis. So just keep in mind that we will be adding to this as we go, and definitely getting your feedback on that also. Awesome. So you'll notice here, this is a little different in the way that it's laid out. You will notice up at the top, there's a legend or a key. So any lesson that you see highlighted in green means that students will jump on and do that lesson from their computers or their devices. Okay. The white, the non-highlighted or the white column or rows, I should say, are supplemental extension activities. So how this would get rolled out is something that looks like this. In week 1, I'm getting students started, making sure that they can access the platform, getting their mind right about what they're going to be doing when they're jumping into the SEL plan, into the SEL resources. The next lesson then, or the next week that they meet, what they'll do is they will have students jump into that first digital lesson, and then they'll complete that digital lesson. Usually takes around 20, 25 minutes, maybe 30 minutes, depending on, the bell schedule, students getting started, all that good stuff. What then teachers will do is they can then pull in this extension activity to kind of set the tone for students for the next time they meet, that they'll be doing an offline activity together during that time. So again, you can pull that extension activity piece up to see, okay, what is this extension lesson going to look like? You can start getting students prepared, having them start thinking about some discussion questions, things that they are going to be prepared to talk about and work on that next time they're together for that offline lesson. So again, you'll notice that it will be a digital lesson one week, an offline lesson the next week, vice versa. It will go with that pattern. All right, again, you will notice all of the alignment, standards alignment, and the core competencies for CASTLE. So that is all there embedded there for you and for the teachers. And then last but not least, my high school folks, similar thing, except you're going to notice something. You all, because you're not meeting as often as middle school folks, you're going to notice that what we did is we made sure that every single time you or the teacher meets with those students for their SEL time, they're going to be incorporating that digital lesson that they're going to jump on and work on. And then at the very end of that SEL time, if there's time afterwards to extend some of those topic areas, I did include some extension lessons that you can click on and jump into and have students utilize as an end of semester type project, whatever the case may be, where those are all going to be housed offline, but relate to those digital lessons that students went through. All right, so I will stop here because I realized that I went over a little bit and I know that it is lunchtime. So really, I just want to make sure that everyone is able to get in successfully. So I saw a couple chats going. Rhonda, is there anything that you need me to walk through in terms of accessing the Everfi platform, or anything that I can clarify for folks?
I need to clarify for folks that they do not have access to Everfi currently via EdCloud in the app, but I just sent the link. I emailed the link that you shared within the chat to everyone. You have all levels of the lessons. I didn't distinguish by level. I just wanted to hurry and get it to you so that you could go through it with Jess just now. So you have access to all levels, and that'll be the way we start until our Gaston County tech team can get everybody's EdCloud to be matching.
Yeah. And Rhonda, did you want me to go ahead and have them sign in through the Everfi platform, so at least they have an account now and we can link it once that Clever piece is finalized? You want me to do that?
Yes, would you please?
Yes. Perfect. So this is the last thing that I will do then. What I will do is, in the chat box, I am putting in everfi.com/create. You will also notice up there on my screen. And what this will do is this will take you to the registration page for Everfi. This will be outside of Clever. So right now, what we'll do is we'll make sure everybody can get started on their Everfi educator account. And then later on, once Clever gets synced up, we will then link the accounts through Clever. So then you'll be able to access then going forward from Clever. But for right now, let's go ahead and just make sure that everybody can successfully get logged in through just an Everfi account. So what you'll do is, in that chat box, or for those of you that are in the room, you can also see on my screen, everfi.com/create will get you into the registration site. And what you're going to do is you'll want to make sure that you choose to register, obviously, as a teacher, not as a student. um, excuse me. And then what you will do is you will, let me go to the next slide if it's going to let me. Okay, beautiful. So you're going to fill out your username and your password that you set yourself up. Choose this, obviously your state and the school that you currently are at. If you're split between two different schools, that's fine. Just go ahead and put one of them in. I don't know if there's anybody that splits their time between different schools, but go ahead and enter in all of that. And then you will, when it asks you for your grade levels and for your topics, go ahead and put in, if you're, if you service, second and third graders or whatever the case may be, middle school, go ahead and choose those with your email and password set in there. And then your profile should then get you into the teacher dashboard.
Yes.
Let me know, Rhonda, if
Of
there's
our
any
high
clar.
school counselors may have an Everfi account. They can just go ahead in and they will be able to see the SEL lessons, correct?
Yes,
I'm having
that.
one of them check right now just to make sure before you go.
Yep,
Okay.
definitely. So once you're into the dashboard, what you'll want to do is you will want to make sure, I'm going to pull up my demo account. You'll want to make sure that you access those resources that I just shared with you all through that course catalog. So I know you all are getting ready to go to lunch, so you're not going to have time to jump in and explore right this second, but in the future, what you'll want to do is in that catalog tab, those SEL resources can be found here within the social emotional learning topic area bands. And you can actually go in and view the course. So you can click on view and it will pop open what that particular course looks like. This is my character playbook example. I'm going to switch back to my browser here. And then also you'll notice the resources tab for any implementation supports or lesson plans or extension guides that you might need access to. So again, you will find those resources here within the catalog tab. You'll have access to all of them right now, regardless if you're elementary, middle, or high school. And then your SEL plan, again, I will share with Rhonda a follow-up email that will have all of these links embedded within an email so she can share that out. I will also share out a student guide and a teacher guide for you all to have